Hi all, welcome to Sweeping the Floor.
The podcast where we clean up the confusion and reveal the treasures hidden beneath the surface of blockchain technologies. I'm Phil.
And I'm Josh. We get together each month and teach each other about interesting projects that we found. Come, experience the journey with us while we learn how to wield the power of digital ownership of finance and entertainment. Now, anything said by Phil or myself should not be considered financial advice, legal advice, or life advice. Anything said is strictly our personal opinions and should not be interpreted to induce a specific product or action. This content is strictly for entertainment purposes only.
That's right. And in today's episode, we're going to cover the big three.
Yeah, so Phil and I wanted to do this episode to provide everybody with a baseline for what this whole crypto space is about.
That's right, because we need to make sure we have a good foundation, as we'll talk about. The three coins that we are going to be talking about have staying power. They've been the most battle-tested, they've survived multiple cycles, and they're still popular and growing today, which just makes sense.
They do make sense. Phil and I are also personally interested in these tokens because we use these on a daily basis and we really enjoy the product. So we hope you enjoy this episode. Phil, Bitcoin, the granddaddy coin of them all, the one that's the oldest, the biggest dinosaur, the biggest market cap. Are you going to tell us about Satoshi Nakamoto?
I am going to tell you about Satoshi Nakamoto. This might be a bit of a biography. Satoshi Nakamoto is the creator of Bitcoin. Obviously, the most known cryptocurrency that's out there. And we don't know who made it. Satoshi Nakamoto could be one person, could be a group of people. They just are them. And we're thankful for them because they are trying to fix some of the problems that fiat money creates. So Bitcoin was originally created in 2008 because of the financial crisis. The Satoshi Nakamoto wanted to create a financial system out of fiat, to escape fiat. That's what we call regular the financial system. And they also wanted to create Bitcoin to get out of money devaluation. So the fact that the more the US prints dollars, the less dollar you're going to be able to buy anything. Kind of sum that up. So the money is printed, the less that your money is worth because there's more of it there. So the main reason Bitcoin was created was to be a digital cash. We don't have to rely on banks and process transaction. So you can, if I'm going to put a metaphor on it, say you think of a group of friends that they no longer want to keep track of who owes who money. And instead, they get together and write it all down on a piece of paper so that everyone can see, agree on where the money has been moved and who owes who what. So this is essentially just a system where no one can cheat or spend the same money twice, and not one person controls it. It's more of a group effort rather than a simple effort.
That's a great summary. So can you tell us about some key properties about Bitcoin that you like?
The key properties of Bitcoin, my current favorite one, is just the fact that there's not going to be any more. Once the final block has been created and that blockchain is now the end, that's the amount of Bitcoin that will forever be here. And I like that idea because we know how much is there. With gold, it's amazing, the fact that it's created by a collision of stars, but we don't know how much is here on Earth. We know how much Bitcoin's going to be here, and it'll just be that.
And there might be a giant gold asteroid out there just waiting to be mined, right? So think about how much the value of gold would drop then too. I like Bitcoin. It's an amazing technology. It's the grandfather, like I'm saying, it's the reason that crypto exists in the first place. So thank you, Satoshi Nakamoto. My big thing that I like about it is the fact that if you are to have gold or silver, you do actually have to store that or pay somebody to store it. It's really hard to send to somebody else. So if you're actually going to use it to purchase something or barter, and it's just really heavy and hard to carry and transport and hide In Bitcoin, you could literally just have it in the seed phrase in your head, and you just need internet access, and you can send it instantly. Well, however long it takes to complete a block, but I think that's one of the cool features about it.
Absolutely.
Do you own any?
I think. Yes. Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency that I bought.
Yeah.
Probably like most people. And the reason I just kept hanging on to it is that, like you said, it's just going to go up in value, and it's going to be wherever I am, wherever my seed phrase is. There's no exchange rate that I have to do. There's no anything. If somebody accepts Bitcoin, I can give them some. But really, I like to hang on to my Bitcoin, but to create this more of a generational wealth thing. Like, yeah, I'll take some out to go on a trip or buy a house, but I know, like I said, that I have Bitcoin that I have, and once it's out, nobody can take it from me, unless, I don't know, maybe some laws are coming out or something like that, like with gold, and then seize everybody's gold. But beyond the point, I do own it, and I'm going to keep buying it in little increments until it's all gone.
Yeah.
Do you own any?
I don't own any. I own some stuff farther out on the risk curve, but we'll get to those in a bit.
Yes.
So let's move on to ETH.
Let's talk about the ETH.
Yes. So can you tell me who the founders are for the Ethereum network?
Yes. So Ethereum was made by Vitalik Buterin and Gavin Wood. Mm-hmm. They looked at Bitcoin and essentially just wanted to go further with it. Kind of dethrone the internet money gold and then take it to a whole new level. The main reason why Ethereum was created was to take the underlying idea of Bitcoin, that secure, decentralized aspect of money, and just make it more versatile. So we can imagine Bitcoin as a backend. It's great at doing one thing, handling money, but limited to just that. Ethereum, on the other hand, is like a smartphone. Not only can it handle money, but now you can have an app store. You can run programs. Those are what's called the smart contracts for it. And you can do almost anything with it. You can play games, make games, organize groups. You can automate agreements, all without needing a central authority or somebody to oversee it. It's essentially like Bitcoin. If we're going to talk about it was like Legos, to another metaphor here. Bitcoin is a single layer, 30 layers, one piece Lego, specifically for money. Ethereum takes those Legos and makes them programmable Lego blocks. You can start to use these blocks to build anything you imagine.
Yeah.
Financial systems, games, organizations. You can start letting people create customized money systems and agreements that automatically run themselves, all without needing a central banker or middleman to hold it. Give you some authority back.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. The programmability part about it was what really drew me in. And this I do own. This is actually the first thing that got me into crypto, was the fact that you could do programmability. My background being an attorney, I thought it was really amazing that you could have code determine the actions of two parties. So if somebody actually doesn't fulfill their end of the bargain, then the code self-executes. So you don't have to go through and have courts enforce things. If somebody's not doing what they're supposed to, the code automatically does what you wanted it to in the first place. The money Lego thing is really cool too. So I guess that would be one of the key properties for it. So what is the big draw to ETH over Bitcoin? Or I guess what are the strengths that ETH has over Bitcoin?
For me, I think it's going to be the fact that you can do almost anything with it. I really love Bitcoin for the value aspect, but I like Ethereum for the usability aspect. Now we can start to put blockchain beyond just, I have some money that nobody can take, and now I can start to create a contract. I can, the amount of stuff that you can do with gaming is incredible. And then people can also build on top of it. So a company can own a blockchain as a second layer of Ethereum And then all of that sort of value still goes back to Ethereum when our money goes up. But now I can be in this ecosystem of like, say it's Nike. I can be on Nike's blockchain and I can get rewards for using their blockchain. I can create my own digital shoes. I can turn into real shoes. Essentially, Pandora's box has been open when you see chains like Ethereum, where you can now do more than just hold.
Yeah, for sure. I'm assuming you hold ETH. Do you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I own ETH. I own a lot of different layer 2s on ETH.
Yeah.
Do you hold? Wait, you said you did hold ETH. Do you
that's
mess around with any of the layer 2s?
I do, and that's going to be a good segue into the third coin that we're going to be talking about today. So my first interaction with crypto was through the Ethereum network. So I started probably right before the 21 bull market. So this was, I think, during the phase of ETH being a proof of work chain, where first off, Bitcoin's also a proof of work chain as well. It just means that you have to solve complex mathematical problems to get the block rewards for the next block that's created. So ETH used to be that way. ETH and Bitcoin both had a bad rap about being environmentally unfriendly for that purpose, which is kind of a red herring. They don't really burn that much energy, but ETH transitioned over to proof of stake. So that was kind of like the time period that I was interested in it. And the gas fees were so expensive. It was ridiculous I really wanted to do DeFi, which is decentralized finance, to kind of play around with it, to see what it was like. And to be honest with you, I just didn't have enough money to play on it. It was too expensive. It was like $30 to do something on Uniswap. So this helps us transition into Solana. That's when I started using Solana too. So the key drawback for me on ETH and what pushed me towards using Solana was that it was fragmented with all the layer 2s. It was complicated to use. That's being cleared up a little bit. It was also expensive. Think dollars to do a transaction, just to click a button to do anything, as opposed to cents or fractions of a cent, which that's also getting better. But honestly, Solana took my attention. And just a little background for Solana, it looks like it was founded in 2017 by Anatoly and a guy named Raj. The purpose for the Solana blockchain is it's a high performance blockchain that can process transactions at a high speed and scale. So they, instead of using like proof of work, they use a novel concept called proof of history. So Solana acts like a precise stopwatch added to a busy assembly line. So it ensures everyone works in perfect sync. So this is with built-in time stamping systems that let transactions be verified and processed in parallel rather than one at a time. So you think of blockchains as like, here's a block, here's a block. These are more like parallel. So it allows them to handle several thousand transactions efficiently. It's really, you hear people talk about modular, which would be Ethereum, and monolithic, which would be Solana, which is just one thing. Modular is like the Legos that you were talking about. Monolithic is just the one thing that you work off of. Right now, it's working for them. I think ETH is doing some good things to combat with that. I don't know who's going to win overall, but I am hedging my bet. I think there's going to be multiple blockchains that are going to be used for multiple purposes. I might be wrong, but if I am wrong, at least I've got maybe a little bit of each. So that's kind of my stance on it.
And so Solana, you would say, is your biggest bag.
For sure, my biggest bag. And the reason for that is because I was able to experiment on it. And I felt like I was able to do DeFi. I was able to buy and sell NFTs. It was just a lot of fun to just mess around with. It was like the internet when we were kids. You just got on there and did weird stuff, like get on and do like ICQ chat. It kind of reminded me of that, where you could get on there and do just stuff that nobody else is doing, and learning what the future is going to be like and how to use that technology going forward. So that's really
agree. I think that an important point that people need to start to get is that, yeah, this stuff is money, and I think that's a lot of people's reservation. But to get to really know this stuff, you play around with it.
Yeah.
To try some things and pull some levers. Like, yeah, you can listen to us, please do. But also go out and make a wallet and try to do all quote unquote hard stuff. And there's somebody in your life who knows how to do it. So you can literally do this with maybe $5. You can do this with $1. And now you're taking the risk way down, but you still get to learn a lot, and then you start to snowball into make a crypto pot.
I think that's a great point. I think the way to look at it is some people pay for education, and if you set some money aside, just know that if you lose all of it, you're going to learn how to use this thing. You're going to learn what not to do. It's just really fascinating stuff, honestly. And I think you're right. I think you do just go out and find somebody to teach you how to use this stuff. You also get rewarded for just trying stuff out. So, for instance, I don't know if anybody heard about this or not, but Magic Eden is an NFT marketplace on Solana. So if you had been using that back when Solana was like, I don't know, like $1 a coin, and just buying and selling silly things and just using their website and just interacting with it, you are going to get rewarded later this month with an airdrop from their token. And the pre-market sales are around like $4. So could you imagine getting airdrop 1,000 of those tokens right before Christmas, and you just made $4,000 just from, I'm not saying that everybody's going to do that or that that's always going to happen, but that happens a lot because we're the guinea pigs and we're trying stuff out. You do get airdropped, and that's how you get rewarded. And like, it's incredible. Like the same with Jupiter.
You play around with it. It's almost like, I don't want to akin it to the like gambling, but when you go out and you try something, now you've been up maybe like $40, and you're positive, and you can learn more. Yeah, you know how to turn that into whatever you want.
It's amazing. So I'm really excited. I'm excited to see where it's going. I'm also excited to see more regularity, clarity.
Yes.
Because that's been holding us back quite a bit. So I hope that helps out. So just to summarize this episode, do you want to kind of tell us about what these Northern Stars are, or I guess the guiding principles for these 3 coins are to help people understand?
Let's get into that.
So what's Bitcoin's Northern Star?
So Bitcoin's Northern Star will just to be that internet gold, that solid piece of the technological world we live in is now yours, forever be yours until you decide. And it is that's I think a little bit around why that proof of work is there, because it does take a lot of computation to do that. And before I go on to ETH, I did really touch on that red herring where, yes, Bitcoin does take a lot of energy to use, but it's going to be more efficient, find efficient ways to get energy so that their Bitcoin mining is more profitable. So it does push innovation in the energy realm, because these people don't want to use as much energy as Bitcoin. They want to do more efficient ways so they can find more efficient energy. So then I'll dive into the ETH main North Star, and that would just going to be this everything. It's internet money, it's home, it's gaming, it's banking, it's whatever it wants to be, based off of what layer we can get into later time of Ethereum that you're using. You want to tell us about the Solana Northern Star?
Yeah, so the Solana's Northern Star it's basically Nasdaq on chain. So they want transactions to be instantaneous almost. As soon as you click a button, just as if you were working on what they call a Web 2 website, and you click to order something, they want not only for that order to go through, but they want the transaction to be finalized at that point. So you know how you usually have like a hold when you buy something on your bank account, it's pending, it pends. Well, if you do stuff on blockchain through Solana, through their idea behind it, it would be instantaneous. It would be in the seller's pocket instantly, the money for the sale. The item that you purchased, if it's digital, it'd be instantly in your possession. Physical, you obviously still have to worry about supply chains and all that, but it's gonna really just make everything so much faster and efficient, and just they go fast and break things. That's their whole thing. So
Go fast and break things.
yeah, but so I think we hit on all the key points for these chains, just really kind of scratching the surface of what they are. Can you kind of tell us about the 3 properties that make up a blockchain and weaknesses for each one, I guess?
Oh, and the weaknesses. So every blockchain has 3 things in order with blockchain there. They need to be scalable, they need to have good security, and they need to be decentralized. So when we talk about scalability, we're easily talking about Solana here. This is being able to do so many transactions at once, like you were talking about with the proof of history, and how now the blockchain is side by side rather than waiting for the next one to complete, so that things can happen way faster and at a speed. And then we can talk about security.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're talking about Bitcoin. The security around Bitcoin is kind of just it's all of them have scalability. Bitcoin security seems to be their sort of trophy. They will. And then we'll talk about third one, which is decentralization. And this is making sure that one person doesn't hold too much of the pot.
Mm-hmm.
That is, when I was speaking with the Ethereum metaphor, making sure that this is more of a group effort rather than just somebody hold a bunch and can make rules and decisions based off of how much they own. Nobody wants that. That sounds bad out loud. And I think Ethereum is more in that realm. It's like, hey, you can touch a wide pot, and if you hold some, you have power.
Yeah, I agree with all those statements. Scalability, I think scalability, you always pit Ethereum and Solana. Yes, so the scalability, Solana and ETH are usually pitted against each other because Solana is a monolithic blockchain and it's faster and able to do things more quickly because everything's moving in one direction all at once. The modular blockchain you can think of as ETH, where there's they're built out wide, so there's a bunch of blocks that they're building on top of each other, and every time they're building something new, they make the tower a little bit taller or wider, so it's harder to do changes and to make transactions settle faster or to add on new use cases. So scalability is always going to be a big issue for all blockchains. Bitcoin, you don't even talk about scalability. They're trying to do the Lightning Network, but I think that they have just accepted the fact that they are just internet gold money. Security, obviously Bitcoin's king in that. In the fact that, like, if you're going to put your whole net worth into something, it's probably going to be Bitcoin because it's the safest thing. The next in line would probably be Ethereum, and Solana would be third. And then decentralization, I think Bitcoin and Ether are at the top, and I think Solana's working its way towards becoming more decentralized. But when they first started out, they were termed the VC coin, the venture capital coin, because not many people like you and I had an ownership interest in it. So they all have their weaknesses, they all have their pros and cons, and I think again that's kind of where we're going to see different blockchains used for different purposes throughout our lives.
But they're all better than none.
That is correct. Yes, I agree. They're all better than the current system that we're working in.
Yes.
So that's all I got. I don't know if you have anything else, Phil.
I think the last thing that I also wanted to mention was a lot of the words and the jargon that's used here is just to define something that hasn't been created yet. And with this being an intro episode, I want you to sort of push back and ask questions around what we're saying and why it's making sense, because it does make you feel more comfortable after you've been in the space. Because again, this can create a lot of wealth. This is going to create a lot of wealth.
Yeah.
And shy away from it because of not knowing what's going on. I don't think it's just an option anymore. I think we have to be curious to get further in life as the future moves on, to be more digital. We gotta be there for the next generation. We're gonna be deep into this. If older generations know what's going on, you can keep you and yours in a safe spot, because there's a lot of things here, as there is everywhere else. Money laundering happens before cryptocurrency, and it can happen after. Those games will always be there.
Yeah, it's a good point. Learn the jargon and be careful out there. There's always fraudsters. It is always going to be there. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter what we do. So just be safe. Just keep learning. And this is an intro. We're just trying to get you acquainted with things, and we hope you jump down the rabbit hole and start to learn more. So thanks.
Yes. Thanks for being with us on Sweeping the Floor.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Phil.
Thanks to you.